Hi, Cheryl. Welcome to Lively Living. It's good to see you today. Can you tell me a bit about what brings you to my office?
Well, I saw an ad on the flyer at the bus stop, and it said that the first visit includes a 10-minute consultation, so I figured it can't hurt to stop by. The only other thing I do on Saturday afternoon is watch the lottery.
Yeah, the free consultation. It's great because it really allows people to understand more about us and our programs. So when you saw our poster, what made you think that spending 10 minutes at Lively Living would be beneficial to you?
Well, I'm now in my early 50s, and my kids have left home, and I'm not currently getting any younger. I thought it might be time to, start caring for myself, I guess.
So what do you mean by that?
If I'm being honest, I actually did have a health scare about a month ago. I was having a hard time breathing, I was coughing, and I was constantly yakking between sentences. It got so bad that I started to feel lightheaded, so I gave in and finally just went to the hospital.
Okay, so what did they say when you went and saw them at the hospital?
They did tell me that I had pneumonia, and they did prescribe me some antibiotics that I did use, but it made me feel drowsy, but it did clear things up nonetheless.
Yeah. So besides the medication, did the doctors give you any other advice?
Yeah, of course they told me to cut back on cigarettes and basically told me to stop.
What do you think about that recommendation about cutting back on cigarettes and actually stopping?
Personally, I don't want to stop smoking, but I guess they know best.
Yeah, so is that why you're here today then? To understand more and break your smoking addiction?
Yeah, I suppose. I guess you could say that. I realized that I must be an addict or addicted to smoking when I began having withdrawal symptoms in the hospital.
Yeah.
The hospital didn't let me smoke, so I did experience some withdrawal symptoms.
So how would you like for things to be different?
I guess I'm just tired of feeling controlled by something. The constant urge that pulls me away from what I'm doing, the conversations I'm having, I'm just overall sick of it.
Yeah, that must be really quite frustrating.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. But that's what makes it a guilty pleasure, I guess. It's almost like I know I shouldn't be doing it, but that drives me to do the action.
So if I take a minute, what I'm hearing is that you know that to improve your health, you really need to stop smoking. But on the other hand, smoking brings you satisfaction.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So why do you think smoking brings you satisfaction? So, and another way to think about it is, what makes you keep going back to that smoke?
I guess smoking is what I know, it's what I'm used to, and I'm rather familiar with it. I've done it for nearly as long as I can remember, but it never was as intense as it is now.
Yeah. Okay, so how does smoking now then look different to when you were doing it in the past? How has it become more intense?
Now that you mention it, there is a sizable difference, and it is quite noticeable. I've gone from smoking about 1 cigarette a day to a whole pack a day.
Okay, yeah, so that is quite a dramatic change, but it's good that you're able to identify that there has been a change. But what do you think caused this to happen?
If I look back, I definitely ramped up when my parents passed away. First, my dad passed away, which was kind of expected. His smoking habits were arguably worse than mine. But then it was a shock when my mom passed away about a few months later.
That's pretty rough. Anyone would struggle in your position. I'd say that your response is not out of the question, but regarding your parents, did both of them smoke, or was it just your dad?
Yeah, they both smoked.
Okay. Thinking about this, do you think that their smoking behaviors had any impact on you and any influence?
Definitely. Looking back on it, I do think so. I had my very first smoke with them. They would come back from work and light up on the porch, and I'd join them after school when I could. We'd hang out until it was time for them to make dinner, and it was really the only time where we hung out.
Yeah. So it sounds like that smoking was like one of the ways you bonded with your parents.
It was definitely a bonding time. We didn't really spend too much time together, at least like with all three of us, and definitely like on the porch when we were smoking. That was the times I can remember.
Yeah. And so because of this and that bonding experience, they've actually passed on their smoking habits to you, haven't they?
Yeah, they definitely have.
So there's a strong association with smoking and feeling connected to your parents. That's what I'm hearing. Do you think that there are other ways you could, achieve this feeling of connectedness with your parents outside of smoking?
I'm not too sure.
Okay, so let's put it this way. When you think about your parents, what comes to mind other than smoking?
My dad did love motorcycles. I mean, it was a big passion of his. He had everything you can think of: magazines, miniature collectibles, posters, biker jackets, you name it, he had it.
Wow. So that's your dad, big motorcycle guru. Sounds pretty cool. But what about your mom?
She loved to paint, and not just your regular landscapes though. She was very good at abstract art. She had all the equipment for it and everything. Just like my dad, she had everything for her painting.
That's cool that they were able to, take time to invest in their hobbies. But knowing that these were big interests of theirs, can you think of other ways that you can incorporate this to help you make change with your smoking habits?
I'm not really sure.
Okay. So let's start with your mom.
Okay.
Yeah. You said she liked art. Is there anything you can do with art instead of reaching for that cigarette when you want to feel close to her?
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I guess instead of reaching for a smoke, I could grab a paintbrush.
Okay, yeah. So then what?
I guess I could get creative and start painting like my mom did.
Yeah, that's right. I like that. Not only can it help you feel more connected to your mom, but it also can help take your mind off that craving for a nicotine hit by actively participating in the art and painting. It really lets go of what's your current situation. But what about your dad?
Motorcycles, I mean, I could, I guess, go for a ride. I do have my motorcycle license and a motorcycle myself.
Oh, that sounds really fun. Yeah, and a great way to connect as well.
Yeah, it sure is. I definitely like going on rides. I have multiple routes I go on. My favorite one to take is, it takes you up to the mountains and you can see a gorgeous view, and I mean, there's minimal traffic, so that's good.
Yeah, awesome. I really like these strategies you have. However, I think it would also be a good idea to put a strategy in place for when you can't actively do those activities. So we've talked about feeling connected to your parents and how that's going to be a key component for decreasing your smoking. But are there any other reminders of your parents that you can keep on you at all times?
I mean, do you really think that's necessary to do? I mean, we've already come up with 2 strategies that I think I can do.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me really. So I suppose, how easy do you think it'll be to, paint or go out on a bike ride during your breaks at work, or while waiting in line at the gas station, or when you're really on a time crunch?
Yeah, I guess that's not very easy, is it?
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to get us to think of something else, something physical that you can keep on you and keep in reach instead of that cigarette.
I think I do have a couple wallet-sized pictures that I can put in my wallet. I can keep one of both of them.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Yeah, we've identified 3 strategies now. That's quite a lot. You can utilize these any day, every day. But do you think you'll be able to make these changes I mean, substitute that cigarette for an art session, motorcycle ride, or a moment to remember and appreciate your parents?
I honestly am not really sure.
Okay. Would it increase your confidence levels if we set some goals right now?
Yeah, that could definitely help me.
Yeah. So let's start by completing one substitution per day. And I mean, you know, that art session, that motorcycle ride, or just that quiet moment where you pay tribute to your parents, and work our way up from there. So when do you think would be the best time to implement these changes?
I definitely like the sound of that. Best time? I could probably substitute my first smoke of the day. Most of the time I take a hit before I leave the house. Maybe I can paint for about 15 minutes, or even take my motorcycle to work to start off the day right. I should also have more willpower in the morning.
Yeah. Nice. I think a lot of people have more willpower in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's definitely good to start your day off differently. You'll be surprised at how much a morning can make or break people's days.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Yeah, so Cheryl, you can do this.
Thanks.
Do it not just for yourself, but for your parents too.
Yeah.
So you're ready to make change. Would you like to check in with me again in 2 weeks, and you can update me on how things are going, and we can go from there?
Yeah, I do like the sound of that.
Oh, great. Okay, so you're booked in for the same time in 2 weeks, so 2 Saturdays from now.
Okay.
And I look forward to hearing about your progress. So I wish you a great weekend, and I'll see you again soon.
All right, I'll see you again soon. Thank you.